Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. This episode is part of our Bookseller Lightning Talk series, in which booksellers present short talks on tech tools, organizational strategies, communication methods, or innovations they've made in their stores.
Next up, we have Susan Tunis from Bookshop West Portal, and I will let you introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, everyone. I'm struggling with laryngitis, so please forgive my voice. Kim, that was awesome. I'm so impressed with how businessy it was, because I'm less businessy, but I have cuter photographs. I am Susan Tunis. I am the buyer and manager of special projects at Bookshop West Portal in San Francisco. I've been here for about 11 years. The store is 17 or 18 years old. Can't quite remember right now. And for many years, I was the store's event coordinator, which is when our Llama-Palooza celebration for Independent Bookstore Day started. In fact, our first Llama-Palooza was in 2018. And when I'm talking to other people about Independent Bookstore Day, I say, oh, we're that store with the llamas. And people go, oh, that's you guys. So I'm about to talk about how our very unique and quirky celebration of Independent Bookstore Day started. We are here in San Francisco, where Independent Bookstore Day was born. So for a few years, we did normal things like invent authors to come talk. But then one day, the co-owner of our bookstore was having a meeting on the campus at Berkeley. And it happened to be finals week. And she saw a small pack of llamas on the Berkeley campus. And they were therapy llamas, and they were there to help the students relax during finals. And she came back to the bookstore and she said, Susan, find me those llamas. We need those llamas. And I did find them. They live at Circle Home Ranch, which is, there's Gio Caldwell, our rancher. Circle Home Ranch is about 3.5 hours from San Francisco. And so they come from their home and they go all over the Bay Area, and they've walked in parades. They've helped people deal with trauma. And in our community, they just bring a lot of love and joy to people of all ages. Gio, who has that's me standing with Gio, and my friend Chai, is a llama evangelist. When you talk to him, he seems like a guy straight out of like the San Francisco 60s counterculture. He has a lot of interesting ideas, and I have learned to speak his language over the years. And Gio is great at sharing the llama love. Now, one of the reasons why this works so well for our bookstore is you're seeing the front of our store right now, and that's about 9 best-selling authors that were with us also on the last Independent Bookstore Day. And I'll tell you about them in a moment. But right next to the bookstore, we have this lovely little brick courtyard. And we have used that courtyard for any number of events. Events with llamas, pigs, goats, and occasionally authors. But it's great in the middle of a big city to have this kind of outdoor space available to us. And so we set up for Independent Bookstore Day. We sort of corral off the courtyard with just a table so that we don't have llamas heading for the hills. We have San Francisco streetcars going by all day while the llamas are in the courtyard with the people. And the people, the families, the grandparents, the babies and strollers line up. And, group by group, we let people in to the area, and they can basically stay for as long as they want. There's enough space and enough llamas, so that it's not an excessively long wait. The llamas will generally stay with us for about 3 hours because they have a long day. They're driving 3.5 hours to and from, which is 6 or 7 hours right there. And, they're sort of on the whole time they're interacting with people. Do you see the blonde lady in the very center of the screen? Her name is Samantha, and she was the original executive director of Independent Bookstore Day when it started here in San Francisco. And what she is doing is getting a llama kiss from Amigo, which is when you put your nose right up against his nose and he gives you a little puff of air. And if you can see down in the corner, a little girl is giving a nice hug to a llama. They're just sweet, gentle creatures. When we started doing this, we had so many people come and tell us, oh, they spit. And I was quoted in Publishers Weekly saying, nice llamas don't spit. These llamas have been very well socialized, and we have never had a single spitting or, God forbid, any other kind of negative incident. Now, as you can see, they are very sweet and gentle creatures, but I will say this, they're also, 400-pound enormous muscular animals. My resume actually has a line on it that says llama wrangler now, because when you are in charge of one of these llamas, you are really holding on for dear life. They will sort of pull you and you have to keep a sturdy hold on them. But they're sweet, they're gentle, and as you can see by all the smiles in these photographs, both human and llama smiles, they're just delightful creatures. And so the other thing that's unique about our store, other than the fact that we have this amazing outdoor space, is that the West Portal neighborhood is we're in the middle of San Francisco, but it's like we're a tiny village in the middle of a large city. And people in San Francisco, some of them don't even know where we are. But we have a 3-block commercial district, and it's a very insular community. We know our customers really well. We know their children's names. We know their dogs' names. And we have a long, intimate history with them. So that's another reason why something like this works really well. Around this time of year, we have customers coming in right now going, are the llamas coming? Are they coming soon? Now, I want you to know we don't only do llamas for Independent Bookstore Day. In one of the slides, you saw a red cart full of newspaper wrapped books. So every year, not actually that one, but somewhere it'll come through. But there's a red cart with the newspaper lined books. It's obviously the very last slide that you're going to find. But we always do blind date with a book. Literally, we have been wrapping the books, for months already to prepare for just the galleys or the very likely damaged books. And we do a brief description, and every customer that makes a purchase during the day gets to pick a book of their choosing. And they go over hugely well. Another one of the many photographs featured, I told you, 9 best-selling authors. Dave Eggers, bless his heart, is a very good friend of ours. There they are. There's Dave. Oh, I'm pointing with my hand. You can't see where I'm pointing. Dave Eggers, Michael Chabon, Daniel Gumbener, R.O. Kwan, Laura Markham, Ingrid Rojas Contreras, Rita Bullwinkle, Venda Levita, and Anna Bullard, our co-owner of the store. But Dave was in the store one day, and he's like, I always wanted to do like a big event and bring a bunch of authors around to a bunch of bookstores, but no one ever wanted to take me up on it. And I'm like, we'll take you up on it. You name the dates, time and place of your choosing. And then I said, but the time that would be really good would be Independent Bookstore Day. And so it started with that conversation, and it grew and grew and grew until Dave had invited, like a dozen author friends, and they had this whole caravan of vehicles, and they went to bookstores all over the Bay Area during the course of Independent Bookstore Day, but it all started with a conversation in our store um, that made that happen. And it was phenomenal. And there's another photograph somewhere in this pile where you'll see them all sort of mingling in the courtyard a few hours before the llamas came. But it was really casual. And people, it wasn't like a big presentation, but people got to just chat with them in a super casual environment. That's the photo. Dave is in the center. You see Michael Chabon off to the side. I see Lauren Markham signing a book. And again, it's a totally different setup we've got arts and crafts in the foreground. We use that courtyard in so many different ways. I have to tell you, it was hugely helpful during the pandemic when we could literally put most of the bookstore outside in the fresh air. So we've done bookstore bingo. We have dozens of restaurants in our 3-block commercial district, and all of our merchants in our neighborhood are such great colleagues and friends and helpers. So if I go to the bakery, they give me 200 chocolate chip cookies warm from the oven. I go to the pizza shop and they give me several pizza pies. Like whoever I ask, they give me anything they can give me. And so we hand out, treats to the people waiting in line to visit with the llamas. Just everyone works together as a team. So unlike Kim, I don't have great hardcore business lessons to give you, but what I can show you is how one bookstore, who's kind of a small fish in the San Francisco ecosystem, has actually carved out a really unique. That's the little van that the llamas come in. At the end of the day, they hop right back into that tiny van and go home. There it is. It's shockingly small in real life. And you think, how do you fit that many llamas in a van that size? But they're so great, these little charming animals. We've created a niche. We get a ton of publicity on this every year. And more importantly, this is something that brings so much joy to our community. And community is truly what our store is about. People look forward to this every year. Children have grown up with it. The booksellers love hanging out with these animals. And so it just makes Independent Bookstore Day truly a celebration for all. Meg, I've done the same thing you've done. I've run around San Francisco, running into bookstores yelling, "Happy Independent Bookstore Day." And they look at me like, what are you talking about? And I just think this is sad. You guys need to come to Bookshop West Portal because we are having a party. And now if anyone has any questions.
Yes, let me turn off your spotlight. And we do have some really practical questions in the chat. Was there any co-op buy-in with PRH for the Llama Llama tie-in? And yes or no is a totally cool answer.
So the answer is no, we didn't pursue it. The reason why, obviously, the first year we did the llamas, it was literally because she saw them and said, "Get me the llamas." The second year, by a staggering coincidence, the Llama Llama Loves to Read was a big part of Independent Bookstore Day. So it was really easy for us to have all these cute pictures with booksellers reading to the llamas. We never asked PRH for a tie-in, but maybe we should moving forward.
The next question is actually about insurance and liability for having live animals in your event for a public event.
So again, we have the store's normal insurance, but we don't take out any kind of separate rider. We've never, again, had any kind of negative incident, and hopefully our normal coverage would be enough of an umbrella.
You had mentioned that people can stay as long as they want. I would be there all day. You would have to kick me out. That is a very true statement. Do you find that you have like a line around the block? Is this a hidden gem? How do you advertise? Can I have a llama?
If you talk to Gio Caldwell, you probably could get a llama. He, as I said, is an evangelist. It's very popular. We do have a very long line, but the line moves relatively quickly um, because people don't generally stay all day. We may get one or two that really hangs in there, but enough people, they spend 20 minutes visiting with some llamas. They do a little llama grooming. They feed the llamas some llama treats. Maybe they put a carrot in their mouth and have the llama eat the other half of the carrot from their mouth. You can do some fun things with llamas, give a little hug. But 20, 30 minutes, you're ready to move on. And some people considerably faster than that. We do try and keep things entertaining by, again, giving them treats of all kinds. We'll get froyo, we'll get pizza, we'll get warm cookies. That keeps people entertained. And they go in and out of the bookstore, shopping, making purchases, picking out a blind date with a book. So there's enough going on that even though there is a long line, which generates more interest in and of itself, it's not a problematic situation. We do promote heavily leading up to Independent Bookstore Day because, again, we like to make a really big deal out of Independent Bookstore Day. I think we make a much bigger deal out of this than many other bookstores. And it does, I didn't say this, it generates a lot of business. We do very well financially on Independent Bookstore Day. This is partly because we have all these events going on, but it's also because, and I keep coming back to this, we are a community. Our customers will come in and spend hundreds of dollars on books because it's Independent Bookstore Day. And this is their way of speaking how much our store means to them. We are very fortunate. We have an amazing, amazing community. We do have expenses. I did not say this, but we paid Geo $600 to bring the llamas to us on that day. We feel like the benefits, more than accommodate those costs. We spend a little bit on decorations, all the food, all the other stuff, it's all free. And so, yeah, it's definitely more of a positive outcome than an expenditure.
We do have two more questions in the chat. One is about general maintenance of the llamas.
Okay, this is completely a legitimate question. It's like, how much detail do I dive into? So firstly, Geo always brings a helper or two. And the first thing that happens when the llamas arrive after they've been in the van for 3 hours, the first thing they do is head to the courtyard and let go. They're very well-trained llamas. So there's a lot of peeing and a lot of pooping and like buckets of pee. Sorry to be so graphic. And I can't believe that the AVA is never going to invite me back. Llama poop comes in like pellets. It's very, very easy to clean up. You just get like a little pooper scooper and you put it in a plastic bag and you take it away to be composted or fertilizer. After the llamas leave and there will be evacuating during the course of the event, and we clean up as we go, or rather Geo's staff cleans up as we go. I don't have to do that. The part I do have to do afterwards is get all sorts of environmentally safe cleaners and solvents and just do buckets and buckets and buckets of solvents and cleaners on the courtyard bricks afterwards, just to sort of wash away anything that might leave unpleasant scents for my neighbors. And that is a fair amount of work on my part, but it's a labor of love.
So good question. A question I never thought we would be asked during a lightning talk.
You guys are never letting me come back.
Oh, yes, we are. And we have another question is about, do you need a particular license to have them there for a day? Or does Geo come with that license?
I am not aware of any license needed.
Summer, do you want to elaborate on your question? You don't have to, though.
A
city permit.
Yeah, I mean, there are other things that we do and have needed city permits for. I am not aware of us needing a permit for this. It may be that I'm ignorant and I will be arrested in the immediate future. There are a lot of things that we do need permits for. This is not one that I'm aware of. We are not charging anyone any money to be with them. And as I said, I think that we would know if we needed one just because Gio does this all over the Bay Area on a very regular basis to the point that I have to book with him. I need to let him know when IBD is, like 8 months in advance, to make sure he's not otherwise engaged.
Um, in Seattle, so Summer, I see that you say San Francisco does require lots of permits for lots of things. In Seattle, livestock is a permitted pet, Like my neighbor has a pig. I would like a llama, going back to the obvious.
They are great.
Thank you, Susan. This was a lot of fun. Takeaways are animals that create pellets and and have them be well trained.
Exactly. I mean, and these are animals that we trust.
Thank you. Well, we love it. This is beautiful. And I am excited to make my way down to San Francisco, hopefully during IBD. And if Gio is missing a llama, don't look at me.
Thank you for listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA website at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!